I'm Shane Coleman. I'm Jerr-Dan's heavy-duty specialist. So what I'm privileged with working with this weekend are all these rotators that you see here. Primarily what I want to talk about in this next 15 minutes or so is I want to talk about the options that you see here on the JFB series body. All of the units here are our Gold series, so they're fully laid out with our tool management systems. They have the newest design as far as access and egress and so on. So I'm going to go through it kind of systematically and talk about what we were brought from the operators and business owners and what the requirements are from an incident management perspective, as well as having a customizable unit. So first and foremost, one of there were four basic target areas that we were asked to focus on the body, and that was it started with storage. So we all know that it's kind of nice to have a little bit more room for more tools. It seems the bigger you make the toolbox, the more you put in it. So we went to work on storage. We went to work on rigging management, because the older style and the more traditional bodies, typically it's a challenge to come up with a storage solution on where do you put your straps and your snatch blocks. Now with the rotators, you have a spreader bar system you need to work with. So we need to take that into consideration as well. So rigging management was another part of it. The third side to it was lighting. Lighting both on scene as well as in motion, going down the road. Obviously we like them to look good, but they still have to be, they have that high level of on-scene function. And then the last part of it was access and egress. So being able to get into that rigging area swiftly, identify what you need, and get immediate deployment on it, but also be able to service the unit. So you have an access point now where we can be able to get in and just do some of the basic preventative maintenance on it. So to start off, this unit compared to standard bodies is at 140% more storage than a traditional body. So at 140% tied into a corrosion-free and water-resistant body, which is now the state-of-the-art for the industry. Jerr-Dan was the first to introduce this type of body on a rotator, and we're following the lead with our previous body that you'll see over here around, kind of surrounding us here, is our aluminum composite. So tying in with that storage is that we also had to line into the rigging ideas. So several operators at shows like this would come and say, listen, I really need to be able to store all of my chains and all of my straps, because I have a variety of recoveries that I need to do, as well as towing. So going to work on that, I'm going to try not to get too close to that, is that we went into the rigging system and created a dampened roller system to be able to store these straps so you can have easier access. Now I would like to say that they're always going to be dry like this, and they're always going to be easy to get to, but we all know that it's never like this in every part of the country, right? So the load rating that you see on the shelf itself is to identify that these straps are going to be wet at some point. You're going to be out in the rain or out in the slush and the snow, so you're going to roll this up and have to put it back in there. So by putting the dampening system on it and it being load rated, now I can put this away. Now notice that I didn't have to strain too much, which is kind of the benefit of having a microphone, right? So you didn't hear the strain from trying to put that back inside. Now, we have the two systems here for both of the rollouts, the dampening system. So now when you need that immediate access to that, now you're not reaching up inside the body. The old traditional bodies, if you're not moving some of the storage units that you put, whether it's a crate or a bucket or tubing, whatever the customize is that now you don't have to do that. Now you can just store that stuff in that shelf, roll it out to you, identify what you need, take it off, put it back inside, and continue to go to work. In addition to that, and tying into this, the focus was for this body was to identify all of the rigging systems that needed to be in the body to handle the variety of recoveries. We focused on this, so several years ago we unveiled a unit that had tool management systems, and the focus at that point was the risk, which was identified in Florida as the Risk Incident Management Program. And there's a specific list of equipment in that. Every piece of that equipment that's identified in that list is on this truck right now. So everything from the cribbing blocks, like you'll see on this side, to the shovels, the cones. On the opposite side, and please take time and walk around the opposite side, you'll see our chain carousel, as well as a 30-gallon storage unit that has the hatch for deployment on the oil dry. Because we all know anything turns over, there's something laying out on the road that you're going to have to at least clean up or stop from rolling, draining off in the drains. So next, what I'd like to talk about too is access to your snatch blocks. Now these snatch blocks are typically the heaviest piece you'll pull out of there, unless you've got a little bit longer recovery chain. Easier access for that and fully adjustable. So if this isn't the brand of snatch block you're using, you'll have the ability to adjust that so that hangs in a nice clean fashion and it's out closer to the body. You're not having to reach inside the body in order to bring it out to you to put it in service. Predominantly, one of the storage solutions that we needed to put into it was a storage solution for a spreader bar kit. It was just our feeling that all of the tools and accessories needs to be inside the body as opposed to mounted up on top, because it's just faster for getting in and getting to it. So again, going back on the idea that we want swifter access and rapid deployment of the rigging, because obviously you want to spend less time out on the freeway or out in that roadway. It doesn't matter if it's a 2-lane country road or if you're out there on the expressway. So we created the storage solution, so there's basically all of this dials into a place for everything and everything in its place. So not only does it make the presentation nice, so it gives me something to talk about, but it also realizes that if I walk by that panel and I see that there's not 2 pins there, then I know I need to go looking for something before I leave. Now, in addition to all the rigging management that we put into this to be able to identify the angle irons and the cribbing blocks, the high pressure bag, which is located up here where our 5th wheel plate is, there's another level to that. The lighting was also the issue. To try to develop a unit where we had full lighting interior and exterior, created a strategic place for that lighting, and when I say strategic, it lines up with NFPA guidelines for full illumination inside the compartment. So they're placed on the corners and they run in a cross pattern so that it fully lights the interior of that panel, so that when you're on scene at night and those lights are on, that 1, they're out of the way, so you're not banging them with the stuff, bringing them out of the box, and 2, you have a full illumination inside the body. Now, addition to that was the on-scene lighting system. This unit right here, in addition to the others that surround us here with the JFB body on it, is that there are 10 emergency strobe lights on it. There's 4 per side and 2 on the rear. The very rear one that's on this side has a switch on the panel so that if the operator is at the controls, he can turn that flare off, that quadra-flare light, and be able to at least see what he's doing within that panel area, within the control bank. So you have the full capabilities of that. There's 26 additional marker lights to the unit. So the 26 additional lights are for on-scene lighting to identify the total perimeter of the body. So as that operator is working the wireless remote, he can identify where the perimeter of his body is. Now, leading into the lighting, all of this lighting has been salt spray tested, because we understand that every piece of equipment doesn't run in conditions like we have here today. Those conditions are going to be like you would find in the Midwest, or up in the Northeast, or out into the western part of the territory, anywhere where that white stuff falls down and they throw the extra white stuff to make it go away. Now, one other element to that, besides the rigging management and the lighting, was access and egress. This is where I want to bring it full circle and tie in the inside to the outside of the body. Each one of these surfaces, starting from the floor to the walls where each piece is mounted to, as well as the top cap, this surface here, every part of this body is load rated. So as opposed to just fabricating the body together and putting on and just putting our stuff in it, each one of these compartments has those storage solutions that are load rated, so that over time that this body, being on a rubber shock mounted, even though it's going through those motions, it's still going to maintain the integrity of the body. Including that, as you make your way around the rear of these trucks, you're going to see some steps that go up the back. There's a 3-point contact. So for those of you who have to do your own maintenance on these units, you'll be able to make access to it, maintaining 3 points of contact, as well as being able to walk up on this surface under the service side of it, with the traction stamping that we've included on top there with the diamond plating. Okay, so to try to bring this to the operator, the whole idea wasn't just to focus on incident management. The idea was to satisfy each one of the areas that you're faced with when you've got these things out on the road and trying to do the jobs.